Hello, everybody. You can thank the criminals for my being this late. They drained my phone battery. My phone battery. Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking. Hi, con artist. Welcome. You can thank the criminals for my lateness. They knocked me out, drained my phone battery. I'm here. And thank you for reposting those videos. Hi, welcome. Yeah, the criminals knocked me out. I had a feeling they were going to do this. They've been doing it all week. It's another way of stealing time from people. Welcome, welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up when you guys come in. Hi, Vicky. Welcome. Welcome. I feel so bad too because it's so cold outside and Zoomy was waiting to come in. He went outside. Hi, Nick. Waiting. I'm sorry. The criminals knocked me out. Where would they be without their technology? Hi, Coldfack. Eden's Living. Nick. Welcome, welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up when you guys come in. Hi, Just Me. Welcome, everybody. Where would they be without their technology? I wonder how many people across the United States do not know that they are targeted. Yes, Zoomy could not wait to come in. He's grooming himself in the corner here behind the laptop. Yes, it's warm now. It's let me see what the temperature is. It's 16 degrees. 16 degrees. It is a sheet of ice here. It's so cold. Thank you, Joe. I just signed on to the chat because the criminals knocked me out. You know, with the radio frequencies, they like to do stuff like that. And then they drained my phone battery. So, hi, Chosen One. Welcome. Yeah, I looked at my phone. It was on the red. And I know I had my phone with me. So, I did not hear the alarm go off. Hi, user. Hi, Julius. Welcome. We're a little bit late. Remember to hit the thumbs up. I was reading into the predatory personality. The Gangstalkers have driven you to La Mission. What mission is that? Yeah, it's cold. It's cold outside. And we did have some sun today, but not enough, not long lasting enough, not hot enough to like melt anything. We've got ice everywhere. Oh, Los Angeles. Oh, I see. Welcome, everybody. Hi, JJ loves animals. I love animals too. I feel bad for the animals outside because it's pretty cold out there. I know. I think that they're the stalkers, the creepers have increasing. Yes, the predatory personality. I had done a video a few months back on the persistent predatory personality, but I started looking into it again today because on Quora, somebody found information on the predatory personality. And let me just pick it up here. Every time I bookmark it, it disappears as somebody else is posting information. And that's pretty much what these people are. They're predators. Like this person, now this is 2 years ago. They called it predatory gang stalking. And I'll read it. But let me just wait for a few more of you guys to come into the chat. And if anybody sent me an email, like within the last couple of hours, I haven't read my mail yet. Yes, animals give us unconditional love. No, they don't deceive or stalk. Although, there are animals that stalk each other. When they want to get the one up on each other. They're so funny. I would take animals over humans any day also. Even the wild ones. Oh no, you got the creepy voice? Oh no. The creepy voice is back. Well, I don't know if you heard the creepy voice on the video I posted. The short that I posted on let me see. Let me pull it up. The first one I posted about the grenade that went off at the foot of the driveway. Yeah, there was a whole gang of people there. And so this is a video that I created. Let's see. This is back in this is in April of last year. The persistent predatory personality. And then somebody today must have responded to this. Yes, everybody, Colfax, thank you for the reminder. Like the chat, let's see, you improved when you stuck your phone in the refrigerator, but it hasn't stopped. So what this person says, this is a great read. Predatory gang stalking is a criminal phenomenon referring to a group of loosely affiliated people who, in an organized and systemic manner, relentlessly invade all areas of an individual's life on a continuing basis as part of their lifestyle. It's their lifestyle. They're sick, depraved lunatics. While each individual gang stalker does his or her small part, What defines predatory gang stalking is the collective intent to do harm. The collective intent to do harm. These are sick people. The collective intent to do harm. No, Joe, she has not. No, she has not. I said months and months ago. Um, and Charlie, oh, look out for Charlie. I had a conversation on one of his videos, and I mentioned to him about the creepy voice that I'd sent him some emails, and he said that he received them. So I don't know if he's going to do anything with them. But yeah, so look out for Charlie did receive the creepy voice emails. There's another guy. Yeah, I don't know who the other person is. Yeah, so I'll read some more of this. So, what defines predatory gang stalking is the collective intent to do harm. And this is actually taken from R.B. Ross in 2005. So, evidently, this individual, now this is posted 2 years ago in Tyler Durden's anti-gang stalking space on Quora 2 years ago. It probably popped up because somebody responded to it. The tactics of predatory gang stalking include highly coordinated surveillance, hidden cameras, conversation bugging in private as well as public, harassment, psychological, psychosocial, financial, and sometimes physical assaults on an individual by a large group of people who are often strangers to the targeted individual. A predatory gang stalking group is a well run organization comprised of members who are unidentified as gang stalkers to the outside world until a group of gang stalkers turn their face towards someone selected to be one of their targets. Members of society do not realize there is such an invisible group. The practitioners of predatory gang stalking are people who, for the most part, go about their business of daily life appearing like everyone else, except for their activities involved in predatory gang stalking. Predatory gang stalking activities take priority over everything else in the lives of the predatory gang stalkers. Predatory gang stalker is a lifestyle for those who participate in it. Corrosive control, same thing. Yeah, Charlie, look out for Charlie says he's so busy. You know, it takes him a long time to go through these videos, and I'm sure he's got a life other than looking into these creepy voice videos. It is very sad. Imagine. So this is predatory gang stalking is a lifestyle for those who participate in it. It's also called terror stalking, gang stalking, flash mobbing, cause stalking, hate stalking, multi stalking, happy slapping, workplace bullying, and covert war. Isn't that pathetic? Oh, hi, Amy. No, thank you. Thank you for sending the email. No, I mentioned when I got on here, the criminals knocked me out with frequencies and they drained my phone battery. So I didn't even have like alarms going off. So Nick says these freaks tried to run me down yesterday, trying to cross the road. They're changing lanes to hit me. Oh, that's horrible. You've got one living above you, harassing you 24/7 with directed energy. Yeah, I mentioned also I have not checked my emails in about 2 hours. Entire families are in it. Yes, entire families throughout generations. So this article goes on to say flash mobbing is an event occurring when a targeted individual is spotted in society. Their photo and location is immediately and simultaneously sent out by cell phone text messages and internet email to all gang stalkers within a certain radius. All gang stalkers then suddenly descend upon the target as a mob. So that was flash mobbing. Now, cause stalking refers to gang stalking by single issue radicals. Single issue radicals. I'll post that in the chat. Thank you, Amy. Thank you for your concern, and please feel free if for some reason, like, hi Elsie, welcome. You know, feel free to email me, and this is where we have to keep track of each other. Civil conspiracy. Oh, that's interesting. I've not heard that term, Joe. So, cause stalking refers to gang stalking by single issue radicals. They stalk a targeted person related to that specific agenda. Cause stalking has been reported to have been carried out by radical Christians who believe in dominion theology. Dominion theology. I have not heard of that either. It is. It's always the nice people they target. Well, you know, these are you know, they're predators. Do you think they're going to go after somebody who's going to knock them out? Remember to hit the thumbs up when you come in, guys. Yes, some are bad people too. Yes, that's true. Predators in sheep's clothing. Hi, Fred. Welcome. We started late because the criminals knocked me out with frequencies and then drained my phone battery, so I wasn't receiving alerts like to alert me. So now this article goes on to say dominion theology is a religious interpretation of the Bible, which these groups believe requires them to take dominion over the earth, which they believe is the precursor to the return of Jesus to earth. Cause stalkers in general believe that they are bringing about social change through gang stalking activities. These people are delusional. Okay, the term civil goes back to Roman times, meaning under the control of the state. Hi, Ace of Cups, welcome. Every religion has extremists. Christian, absolutely. Well, that's absolutely true. There are extremists everywhere. Hi, you're for the comments. Yeah, well, they are cowards. I mean, imagine a group of people getting together to harass one person, a female. These pathetic loser men. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up when you come in. So, cause stalkers in general believe that they're bringing about social change through gang stalking activities. Cause stalking can be carried out by white supremacists in the form of hate stalking. Scientology groups are another example. This type of predatory gang stalking is primarily for the purpose of intimidation and is often a precursor to or an adjunct to violence. So hate stalking is a precursor to or adjunct to violence. These are people are sick. These are sick, pathetic loser people. They're a bunch of cockroaches that band together to target one person. Oh, it makes them feel so powerful. And then they're saying, let's see, hate stalking. Let's see. I'll just cut and paste this into the chat so you can see this. If one person comes along and hijacks it and twists and distorts paragraph here and there to suit their own goals. Okay, citizen and civil is the same thing. Yes, the Jehovah's Witnesses do it also. They do. Cheryl, what is that? We finally got the places to report our cases to. Did you report it? What cases? Yeah, you know what? I did not realize that it had gone on for centuries. Julia says it makes me want to live in a forest and be a hermit. Welcome. Be Dawn, D Dawn. Welcome, welcome. Remember to hit the thumbs up. Ace of Cups says, I think my religious extremists are agnostics. They think the Bible is a metaphor like Kabbalists or for Judaism. Cheryl, I did see what you wrote there, but if you have a comment or something that you post on somebody else's channel and you want me to see it, I mean, it's best to just email it to me. Yes, they do have a very weird, twisted sense of the world. Thank you, Cheryl. I receive so many emails, and I'm so busy here with the bad weather. I mean, literally, there's ice everywhere. It takes me twice as long to do anything. Like, it takes me 4 hours generally in the morning to take care of all the animals. Another 2 hours later in the day. So if I don't get to read everybody's emails or comments, understand why. Nick says you can have to Julius. You can have half the forest. I get the other half. Well, I live in a forest. It makes no difference. The predatory stalkers love forests. That's a good point, Cold Fact. People think that they can administer their own justice, whether we deserve it or not. Conrad says, in my experience, my religious stalkers are from the evangelical churches. Pam Bondi and DARPA are taking reports, not just Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, really? What kind of reports? If they're taking reports, I'm in. And that's why the criminals keep knocking me out, because today I was composing a letter. I want to get an investigative journalist to do a story. Ace of Cups says it's good to know that because you figure out what pisses them off and double down on that. Charles says our cases so that they can prove the criminality. Oh, there is It's obvious. I mean, most of us can prove the criminality. And the criminality often involves your sheriff's department turning a blind eye, conspiracy of rights, and the color of law. They're in color of law violations. Okay, Ace of Cups, thanks for clicking in here. I started late. Yeah, I started 40 minutes late because of the criminals, you know. Well, you know, there are too many reports coming out, people talking about it. It's turning into they can't ignore it anymore. So going on with this article, happy slapping refers to group harassment of one youth by other youths carried out live over cell phones, equipped to handle video to peers' youths. I've not heard of this before. This is the first time I'm hearing this. New Jersey Governor Mike Sherrill referred to. Oh, that's so interesting. Oh, Cheryl went on to AI and said there are a lot of new places to report our crimes. Joe says apparently the targeting was mentioned in the e-files and evidence of stalking set up on targets. Also, a TikToker who went to the island and recorded and released is now going through gang stalking. Oh, interesting. She said Stasi is operating. Julius, I'm with you there. Thank goodness I grew up before cell phones. I grew up before the internet. We had typewriters. Yes, Jesus was targeted. Yes. So with this happy slapping, young gang stalkers slap around the targeted youth while laughing at him or her, while several other youths broadcast the incident live as many peers as possible. Like this is like serious bullying. Then there's ritual gang stalking. Ritual gang stalking is reportedly performed by cults and secret organizations such as Satanists, secret orders of the Freemasons, and some voodoo practitioners. Oh, that's what's going on here in Jackson County, Kentucky. Ritual gang stalking, Satanists, Freemasons, some voodoo, Scientologists, for a means of control or punishment. Ritual abuse is incorporated into ritual gang stalking patterns in this case. Hi, Johnny Cat. Johnny Cat is asking, does anybody know the YouTube channel that went to the island and is now being gang stalked? Oh, you don't know the name. You saw them on IG. Jesus was gang stalked. He called them actors or hypocrites. That's what the Greek word meant. They would have skits and Truman Show type actors around him all the time. You might be able to search for it. You know, perhaps you can do a search on YouTube. Because if that's the case, that somebody went to Epstein and is now being gang stalked, there might be people talking about it. But it might not be on YouTube. It could be on TikTok. Try TikTok also. So this ritual gang stalking is reportedly performed by cults and secret organizations such as Satanists, secret orders of Freemasons, some voodoo, obeah practitioners, and Scientologists as a means of control or for punishment. Ritual abuse is incorporated into ritual gang stalking patterns in this case. Yeah, it's probably on TikTok. Kabuki theater. Yes, if somebody is taking cases, we all need to present our cases. Absolutely. Absolutely. NBOBEA, OBEA is considered one of the darkest form of black magic known. Blood sacrifice is always used and the intent is to harm, even to death, another person. You don't have any audio? Can you guys hear me? I don't know if it's on your end. When you report, you need to use special language. I want to make a formal report on unlawful domestic surveillance and third party proxy harassment. Okay. Okay, so everybody else is saying that you can hear me. Because I've not heard about this NBOBEA before. It's the darkest form of black magic. Blood sacrifice is always used, and the intent is to harm, even to death, another person. Then, of course, there's workplace bullying, involves gang stalking activities tailored to the workplace, which is carried out by a group of employees against another individual employee. And that happens to a lot of you guys that are employed. You left and came back and still no audio? Oh no. Is there anybody else that doesn't have audio? That's how they set you up to fire you. Or, yes, or they want you to quit. Yes, that they absolutely do that. And we've had a lot of testimonies of people who are still employed that is happening to. And they usually go after the person who is literally the best employee, the one who doesn't call in sick, the one who's on time, that one that does all their work, even works overtime. Nick says last week a car stalker drove by with New Jersey plates here in Ohio. Oh no. Oh no. Workplace mobbing is brutal. Of course, it's horrible. And they're always trying to instigate trouble, harassment, stalking, while you're trying to do your work. Oh, I'm buffering? Am I buffering? Oh, I don't see that on my end. I guess they don't like the article that I'm reading. It could also be our internet connection. That's possible. Then there's cyber stalking. Oh yeah, cyber stalking is a situation where an individual is identified to be a target through the internet participation and their personal identity is determined. Cyber stalkers pierce the electronic veil and are able to enter into the real life of a person, creating all forms of harassment, theft, psychological operations, including slander and libel, and able to commit crimes against the targeted individual. Oh, Joe says, I've got it figured out. I didn't have my BT headphone connected, but for whatever reason, they were suddenly linked to my phone while in their case. That is very odd. They live on fear. Cyber stalkers pierce the electronic veil and they're able to enter in the real life of a person, creating all forms of harassment, theft, psychological operations, including slander, libel, and able to commit crimes against the targeted individual. Vigilante stalking, terror stalking, is the same as predatory stalking. For the purpose of this informational writing, all activities will be referred to as predatory gang stalking because the tactics and characteristics of the gang stalking are the same. And often the targeted person will become the victim of more than one type of gang stalking. Predatory gang stalking is a criminal phenomenon referring to a group of loosely affiliated people who, in an organized and systemic manner, relentlessly invade an individual's life on a continuous basis to an extreme degree as part of their lifestyle. While each individual gang stalker does his or her part, what defines predatory gang stalking is the collective intent to do harm. And this is important. Like when you're filing your reports, this is a great article to refer to and use this terminology. Predatory gang stalking is a criminal phenomenon referring to a group of loosely affiliated people who, in an organized and systemic manner, relentlessly invade an individual's life on a continuous basis to an extreme degree as part of their lifestyle. Predatory gang stalking is the collective intent to do harm, and this is R.B. Ross, 2005. Predatory gang stalking is reported by historians to have been originally developed by social scientists and psychologists in communist and fascist countries as a means of control of individuals within those societies. The tactics and techniques of predatory gang stalking were developed through animal and then human experimentation. The methodology of predatory gang stalking is precise and well orchestrated. It is reported that the technical mechanics for predatory gang stalking were first sold on the black market by the ruling party leaders of East Germany when the USSR political systems crumbled. These protocols were subsequently exported to other countries and implemented there against unsuspecting citizens. Predatory gang stalking has been reportedly against citizens worldwide. Thus far, it has continued unchecked. One of the reasons for the unchallenged proliferation of this form of organized crime is that it characteristically takes place in such a way that it is invisible to the untrained eye. I don't know about you guys. Those grenades going off on my driveway, though that's not invisible. It is understandably, therefore, considered to be the perfect crime as it remains unchallenged and extremely difficult to prove. Up, I beg to differ. The countries with the greatest number of reports are the US, Canada, Germany, and England. In the US, the states with the greatest number of reported predatory gang stalking: California, Texas, and New York. The predominant portion of individuals targeted by gang stalkers are non-Caucasians. It's difficult to find other predominant similar characteristics in targets. The reasons that an individual is selected for targeting are unknown. It can only be speculated to include reasons such as easy accessibility to the target, random selection for training for new predatory gang stalkers, a minority group member relative to hate based groups, making an example of someone, revenge, retaliation, and social control. JJ Loves Animals says, I have LRAD sound. That's what's being used. You can buy a handheld model for $10,000 to $12,000. Cheryl says, it says, make sure you cite Ellenberg versus USA 2026. Yeah, if you could email that to me, Cheryl. Amy says they tried to set me up by stealing my car registration renewal reminder that came in the mail. It expired while I was trapped for 10 days in the snow, pulled over for the moment I came into town. Cheryl says Pam Bondi now has her own portal, and DARPA has reporting now too. I didn't write that down. This is hot off the press. It's happening. Hi, Only One Joy. Welcome, welcome. Amy says they follow her into stores. Well, I'm glad about that. I hope oh, hi Pamela. Welcome. Pam Bondi is the USA Attorney General. She's the Attorney General for the United States. Okay, reading on to this article here. So, predatory gang stalkers, minority group members relative to hate-based groups, making an example of someone, revenge, retaliation, and social control. Who are the practitioners of predatory gang stalking? They include career criminals, participants in drug trade, extreme ideologists such as radical Christians, members of hate groups such as white supremacists, members of motorcycle and street gangs, and homeless people. They're also often people with a background in military. As we said that before, right? These are military. These are ex-military, including disabled vets. Higher levels in the predatory gang stalking organizations include people in the military and law enforcement, or with the same experience, Secret Service, defense employees, government officials, banking firms, and so on. It's been reported that top level government security and intelligence agencies use gang stalking tactics in covert operations. What is most baffling about predatory gang stalking is that many of the practitioners of this social pathology appear to be regular mainstream people with no prior criminal record, predominantly in the socioeconomic middle class. It is presumed they participate for the money or rewards they receive in the form of barter or for social conscience feel good factor. The world of predatory gang stalking increases as new recruits are initiated into the predatory gang stalking process. Therefore, a target may see collusion and participation from neighbors and coworkers who were once on good terms with the target. The circle of predatory gang stalkers widens with time. However, most of the time, the gang stalkers are complete strangers to the target. In most of the encounters the target has with gang stalkers, The target does not recognize the perpetrators, but the gang stalkers readily recognize the target. Further, these predatory strangers possess detailed knowledge about the targeted individual. Most often, predatory gang stalking is being engaged in by parties unknown for reasons unknown to the target. People have died after a lifetime of protracted predatory gang stalking without having any explanation as to who is doing this or why this is happening to them. Well, I think a lot of people that are being paid for it, they're just greedy. They get off on it, they have a sadistic personality. They have overlapping personal pathologies, personality disorders. Sometimes the leaders in these large affiliated groups of gang stalkers have specialized military expertise in the areas of military intelligence, military electronics and equipment, and in military strategic and tactical training. Those without formal military training have often engaged in paramilitary activities or have technical skills commonly found in successful career criminals. Others who join a predatory gang stalking group without such a background are given on the job training in addition to other gang stalking skills. It can be said with certainty that there are specific protocols and tactics, and most gang stalkers appear to be proficient in a similar set of skills. Predatory gang stalkers each have their own individual skill that they contribute towards the common goal of the group. One person in a group knows how to pick locks, another knows how to hack into computers, while someone else provides the GPS and electronic equipment. Many predatory gang stalkers members know how to tamper with a vehicle. Some predatory gang stalkers are practiced lookouts, while others are group leaders. Pamela says, I had a horrible night last night. They're out everywhere. I live near Glen Ivy, California. Kind of out in the sticks. My family is stalking me. They all have borrowed money. Yes, Pamela says, I agree, and I think they're military that were dishonorably discharged and witches. That's very possible. Very possible. Yeah, they love to play with cars. Some predatory gang stalkers are practiced lookouts while others are group leaders. Predatory gang stalking groups have their rank and file as many as any other organization. Orders come from the top, just as in any other organization. However, it is unknown whether the top of the organizations are local, regional, national, or international. Yes, only one joy to the world says, I have to share that when you ignore them, they hate that. I struggle with not yelling about them a lot. Yeah, Amy says they know whenever I have an appointment, they always set up a plot to prevent me from getting to the dentist or more. Oh, these criminals have canceled appointments out on me in the past, and I've called to confirm, and then somebody will say, "Oh, well, you canceled that appointment." It's like, no, I didn't cancel the appointment. Remember to hit the thumbs up, guys. Predatory gang stalkers use state of the art technology coupled with law enforcement style tactics. Typically, the individual gang stalkers are strangers to the target. Happy slapping and workplace bullying are the most common exceptions. Participants in predatory gang stalking are well trained. The tactics and techniques they use are similar all around the world in numerous countries where this has been reported. Each group of predatory gang stalkers is a covert army unto themselves. Amy says, I felt that AI is involved in some way. Well, I think that they have to automate some things. I think that's technology. I'm not sure about AI. Yes, yes, 40 views and 27 likes. I see 26. Cheryl says they don't call what we call asset stripping. They call it managed attrition. Oh, it's asset stripping. That's what they're doing. Managed attrition. Yeah, what that is vandalism and theft. Sabotaging employment. That's a form of asset stripping. So each group of predatory gang stalkers is a covert army unto themselves. They have incorporated specialized techniques originally used by spies during the Cold War. They carry out their field work with military style precision. Then they go about their daily lives just like any other member of society in most cases. Their gang stalking skills are highly sophisticated, and their commitment to predatory gang stalking exceeds zealousness. It appears to both an observer and a target that nothing requires of them in terms of time or availability is too much trouble for them. As stated previously, but worth repeating, predatory gang stalking activities take a priority in the lives of those who practice predatory gang stalking. Predatory gang stalkers are a functioning subculture of society that move invisibly through society as such. This is design by design, making it even more dangerous to society. Oh, I didn't see that video, Elsie. Elsie says Redacted had a video tonight about mind control. Oh, right, right. Canada says, in terms of TIs, AI is being used to process massive data sets to predict our every move, thought, behavior in order to maximize the harm against us. So, as a reportable crime, it could be stated that maybe not use the term gang stalking, predatory stalking are subversive groups that have infiltrated all of society, hiding in plain sight. Predatory gang stalking is intended to deprive someone of their freedom and rights. It destroys a person's privacy and control of their own environments. It is intended to create distress, disrupt relationships, deplete a person's resources, destroy one's physical and mental health, and inflict great overall long term suffering. They interfere with the target's sleep, thereby producing chronic sleep deprivation as a strategic tactic. They employ a variety of interactions with the targeted individual, which are likely to produce accidents and various forms of illnesses. One of the main weapons they use for their own protection and to enable their success in gang stalking is to manipulate a target's life in such a way as to cause them to lose their credibility with others. This is usually the first objective reached. After that, gang stalking the target involves only minor risk. Notably, people who become involved generally stop caring about the abuse by turning a blind eye or actively joining in, while others, though concerned for the target, become too frightened to speak out or come to believe the propaganda that the target is mentally ill and needs this kind of help. Yeah, like that is helpful. Predatory gang stalking also involves provoking accidents and consequences of harm to the target. Predatory gang stalkers will surround a target's moving vehicle, attempting to force them off the road when they are stressed and exhausted. Worse, these tactics will be employed after tampering with the targeted individual's vehicle. Predatory gang stalking is a serious business. Predatory gang stalking is at the least psychological violence, and at the most, it is protracted sadistic, sociopathic domination and calculated destruction of an innocent human being for reasons of pleasure, power, and social control by a group of predatory strangers. It is rightfully assumed that money is involved in predatory gang stalking because of the amount of resources required to execute such extensive efforts. The gang stalkers develop capabilities directly proportionate to the amount of money that funds them. In following the money trail speculatively, one looks to the possibility that drug money is involved. Some people reason that the government may be involved because of the amount of resources that are available to the practitioners of predatory gang stalking. Other individual situations seem to indicate that corporations, insurance companies, and even wealthy individuals with revenge motives fund predatory gang stalking. In addition to cash payment for participation in predatory gang stalking, other forms of barter are used. These are drugs, alcohol, reciprocal favors, release from debt, jobs, contracts, deals for legal problems, and other forms of compensation. Some gangstalkers are given free housing in exchange for performing predatory gangstalking activities against a nearby target. However, it is clear from observing predatory gangstalkers in action that many engage in it for the mere pleasure. They get off on it. One high ranking leader in predatory gangstalking stated that it was like an addiction, and I've said that before. He described how the buildup and culmination of a gang stalking assault was intoxicating. But then there was a letdown feeling afterwards. that compels him to do it again, and the cycle continues. It's also true that some people participate in predatory gang stalking because they're deceived into participating. Friends, neighbors, and associates of a selected target are given false information and finally come to believe that the targeted individual has committed heinous crime for which they deserve what is portrayed them to be rehabilitative social intervention. Sometimes people reluctantly participate in indirect ways, such as making their homes available at times for parts of the operation for fear of consequences if they did not. Others involved in predatory gang stalking include homeless, they do it for money or drugs. Disabled vets are known to participate in predatory gang stalking activities for alleged government or defense contractors' projects. Predatory gang stalkers have successfully elicited the participation of neighbors by appealing to their sense of service to the community or government, often representing themselves as affiliates of the government or law enforcement. Oh, yeah. Yeah, like the Bow Wow down the block is always saying, "Oh, and my son-in-law is the sheriff. My son-in-law, my son-in-law is the sheriff." That must make her special. She's less of a Bow Wow because she thinks that she's related to the sheriff when there is actually no bloodline relationship to the sheriff. Predatory gangsters have successfully elicited the participation of neighbors by appealing to their sense of service to the community or government, often representing themselves as affiliates of the government or law enforcement. Lastly, those who are in the underworld or secret organizations, they also practice predatory gang stalking as part of the membership dues. The craft and practice of predatory gang stalking appears to be standardized around the world. Many similarities parallel incidents reported by targets internationally. It appears that there's a standard protocol involving a series of tactics, progressive phases, and nature of assaults. It appears that the individual has been selected to become a target, and the groundwork has been established for their assaults long before the individual can become aware that something criminal is occurring in their lives and to their person. And it is criminal. Everything they do is criminal. Stalking is criminal. Menace is criminal. Harassment, trespassing, theft, vandalism, harming your animals, it's all criminal. It appears that there's a standard protocol involving a series of tactics, progressive phases, and assaults. Okay, I said that already. Let's see. It appears that the individual has been selected to become a target, and the groundwork has been established for their assaults long before the individual can be aware that something criminal is occurring in their lives. Predatory gang stalkers achieve this strategically. By the time the targeted individual becomes aware that something very threatening and disturbing is happening to them, they have already been thoroughly investigated by their enemies, stigmatized, discredited, and compromised. All wells have already been poisoned, so to speak, and all avenues of help and escape have been blocked. Predatory gang stalkers first establish information dominance over a targeted individual. This achievement alone enables them to attain excessive power over a targeted individual. It is believed that this is accomplished by means of eavesdropping devices in the target's environment. Global positioning technology, GPS secreted on their vehicles, obtaining illegal access to all the target's personal records, such as bank accounts, emails, medical records, and credit card purchases. They're able to achieve 100% surveillance of a targeted individual and almost 100% access to a targeted individual's entire lifetime of available information from any computer, paper, photographic, or personal source. This should be absolutely outlawed. Yes, they use baby monitors. Oh, Jerry. Hi, welcome, Jerry. Jerry says you can see your satellite count on the Wiggle Warfaring app. I have over 50 sometimes. They broke down in category. I think that Wiggle Warfaring app isn't that only on Android? I don't think it's on iPhones. I heard about the Wiggle Warfare app, but it's not on iPhones. Or at least the last time I looked for the app, it wasn't there for iPhone. Yeah, I think it. The use of all information obtained to ambush and sabotage a targeted individual. Predatory gang stalkers ultimately become capable of entering a target's house, place of employment, and vehicles at will, and often all forms of communications in the targeted individual's life is interfered with by the gang stalkers. Oh, yes, they do interfere with everything. They've interfered with the sale of my property, which is why I want an investigative journalist. I want to get interviewed by one. I want what's going on here in Jackson County exposed to the world. They will intercept email, tamper with voicemail. And obstruct the delivery of postal mail. The net result is that all communication in a targeted individual's life will become unreliable and incomplete, both incoming and outgoing. The recognized by predatory gang stalkers everywhere they go. The predatory gang stalkers sadistically prefer to maintain a file of photos taken at points in time when the victimization reaches peaks, such as when a target is reaping consequences brought about by gang stalkers, such as upon a targeted individual's firing, eviction, or when the person emotionally breaks down. This is sick. This is very sick. These are the types of people that belong in prison. Or when they appear disheveled from insomnia or is fearful. This is very sick. Psychological profiling is yet another tactic performed on a targeted individual for the purpose of finding weaknesses. Okay, so yeah, so what that means is a predatory psychopath is psychologically profiling a normal individual. Okay, I get it. They exploit all information obtained, including fears, triggers, value conflicts, skeletons in the closet, like nobody has a skeleton in their closet, like these losers. Areas of shame, addictions, vices, and all things they hold dear. That's why they stole my guinea, dipped the legs in water, allowed her to freeze to death in the coop, and then took my rooster Chirp and threw him outside of the coop in the freezing cold. Then they stick two black dogs on the property to harm a deer, biting the deer's legs so that it couldn't move anymore. And after the deer died, because nobody came here to take care of the deer. They push the deer down from the top of the hill and disembowel the deer and pull the tail off the deer. These are sick, sick, pathetic psychopaths. They often successfully interview a target under various guises. They use the information obtained to maximize the predatory gang-stalking ability to destroy the targeted individual. Practitioners of predatory gang-stalking have their own coded language, both verbal and visual. Each targeted individual is referred to by an assigned code word. A code word. Hand signals are an important tool of their universal protocol. Some hand signals resemble the mannerisms used in baseball and other sports. Other signals are those found in law enforcement and military. Oh, okay, so Jerry says Wiggle War Driving is online. Without the app, it's free. What we have here, we have the dog warden. It's not really animal control, it's just a dog warden. They don't take cats, only dogs. And when I left a message for the dog warden, I did not receive a call back about the 2 black dogs. Joy to the World says, I've put a big gallon double bags of salt water on my head and chest at night. Yeah, these people should get a life. This is their life. This is their lifestyle. They're predators. They're addicts. Each targeted individual is referred to by an assigned code word. Hand signals are an important tool of the universal protocol. They use hand signals to identify the area of the target's body designated to be the target of a pending physical attack. Did you hear that? I'll cut and paste that in the chat for the replay. This is often the eyes and the heart. They also use hand signals to coordinate the unauthorized entry into a target's home or vehicle. They also use hand signals during a roving vehicle caravan and while on foot for the purpose of coordinating attacks and pointing out the location of a target. Vehicle alarm panic buttons and horns are commonly used tools of communication and coordination. Oh yeah, I hear them doing this in the background. In residential areas, outside lights have been an established set of messages. They also use dead drops like spies and have done historically to secretly pass along information to one another. Public bathrooms are commonly utilized as locations for the transfer of information and equipment. Mobile pickup and delivery systems are in place for this purpose as well. They have a set of questions and responses to confirm the identity of a predator gang stalking to one another, which are also coded. In the USA, they refer to money by the last names of the president whose face is on the bill. Someone may say, I have references like the translation is money. I know, like quote unquote, I know 5 of the Franklins. Their coded language is universal to them. It sounds like they're traffickers. That's what it sounds like. They're involved in human trafficking. Predatory gang stalkers will begin an intense and extensive discrediting campaign against a selected target well before the target could even suspect he or she has an enemy. This critical tactic sets the stage for neighbors and associates to become alienated from the target. One of the predatory gang stalker's goals is to eliminate all forms of support and assistance for the target. Towards this objective, the police are given anonymous, quote unquote, concerned citizen tips designed to lead the police to believe the target is mentally unstable or a problem in the community in advance of any actual direct gang stalking. The discrediting campaign includes accusing the target of being an undesirable for any number of reasons, including fabricated reports of having committed crimes that are the most repulsive to members of society. Practitioners of predatory gang stalking even go so far as to represent themselves as undercover law enforcement or government agents. It's been reported that they will even show false documents for substantiation, but they will never leave them behind. Financial devastation is another goal of predatory gang stalking. Towards this goal, they make attempts to destroy one's gainful employment, pose as offering services to intervene within the problem to further take your money, and they'll steal funds and personal property on an ongoing basis. Well, that happens here in Jackson County, Kentucky. They're thieves, predators, and thieves. They're greedy. They can't create for themselves, so they have to steal from others. Repeated unauthorized entries into a target's residence, vehicles, computer, and workplace are hallmark tactics of this crime and is nearly impossible to stop. Predatory gangsters can pick locks, bypass security alarms, and enter any location, posing as utility crews, law enforcement, or delivery men. Practitioners of predatory gang stalking will apply for and obtain legitimate jobs in a target's home or business in order to have access to the target and their life, relationships, and assets just to do harm. That's happened here. Absolutely. That has absolutely happened here. Predatory gang stalking employs a tactic of synchronicity. This tactic involves the precise timing of interactions with the targeted individual. For example, the target can go out and get the newspaper in the morning and encounter gang stalking activities that suddenly appear and which are precisely synchronized. These synchronized encounters repeatedly occur. Activities such as leaving one's driveway, taking out the trash, going to the store, or even walking the dog are activities which result in an encounter with one or more predatory gang stalkers. Even when a target strategically does not follow any set routine, these synchronized occurrences continue. This makes the gang stalkers appear to be all knowing and almost omnipresent in the minds of a new targeted individual. This is intimidating, demoralizing, and even terrorizing to targets. It is often unavoidable. In the case of primary targeted individuals of gang stalking, the rare individuals who are a priority target of global gang stalking, the primary objective is to induce as much fear as possible, and over time, as the numbers of individuals that become involved are made aware of the target, the abuse can increase substantially so that there is no aspect of the target's life that is private or sacred. Rarely, if ever, does a targeted individual engage in an activity of daily living without the unwanted participation of predatory gang stalkers. The timing and coordination of these activities are remarkably precise. The target becomes aware that all of their activities, including the presence of predatory gang stalkers, These gangstalkers demand to be noticed by their target, and if they're not, they will take an action to be noticed. This can include honking their horns, making a comment, creating a scenario to get the attention of the targeted person. Once noticed, they will return to no contact, knowing that by that point the target will henceforth anxiously watch for them. Most times, however, these practitioners of gangstalking maintain the appearance of business as usual. They rarely make direct contact, with some exception. However, these strangers often boldly smirk and openly laugh at the target at uh, some close point in the encounter. This is the universal exception to the no direct contact protocol. Other times, when verbal or physical contact is made, these encounters are conducted in such a way as to appear to have been happenstance. Since most practitioners of predatory gangstalking rotate in and out of the life of the target, the same patterns of gangstalking will occur, but it will involve different people all the time. Like the ones driving back and forth on the county road right now. All of the predatory gangstalkers will be strangers to the targeted individual, and they will continue to make their presence, but not their purpose, known. This is one element of predatory gangstalking that is disbelieved by others. These others include law enforcement, the medical profession, and family. Those who are unaware of activities of subcultures such as criminals, secret organizations, clubs, extremist groups, radical political groups, hate groups, organized crime groups, and other antisocial groups. The scope of attack by predatory gangstalkers is unfathomable. Nevertheless, the extent of this massive assault on one individual is as extensive as described here, and even more so. Let it be said that we really do live in amazing times. The world itself has seen much change and turmoil, even in the last century. And with the increase of technology, the desire in those who choose to live out of balance with life and try to live in dominance and control of the masses have opted for this horrendous path of stolen power. This may sound quite vague, and it is, only because of the other face of gangstalking, or rather the precise reason for its use, deals with a more incredible phenomenon that hasn't even been touched upon yet. In the first instance, we must be so naive to assume that our government and all those that have been granted the power and authority to run our world are acting from a selfless perspective. They're not. The secrets of the universe, God, and true power have always been the holy grail of man, and the desperate desire to achieve and own them by some. To this effect, the studies and research that have been conducted since time immemorial have been immense, with one of the holiest of the holy being understanding of the human mind, soul, and will, and how these can be controlled and used far more readily than man has been able to achieve so far. And it's for these reasons that extensive and more covert experimentation has been undertaken on people targeted for this work. These people are the targeted individuals of gangstalking. Our minds, our complex structures, our memories, long and short term, our thought process, our fears, on and on. If it is true that we do indeed manifest what we think, as countless experts have us to believe, and that spiritually we are indeed one soul, fragmented, but unequivocally connected to a unified field, then it stands to reason that if one or a few souls and minds can be controlled, then this will lead to the occupation of all. This, of course, sounds like insane rantings, but assuredly, this is the reality humanity faces today. There's a very dark agenda to control all minds by controlling the energetic fields of existence, our physical bodies, DNA, etheric fields, mental and emotional fields, and so on. Next, imagine for a moment if Lucifer were also created from one of the targeted individuals, more than just the social pariah they started as. What if society is led to believe that they're actually a satanic entity or individual? In doing so, a common enemy is created with which to blame all eventual chaos upon. This is another portion of the agenda. It is in the end the stuff of nightmares, and what has been called dark prophecy or conspiracy theory is actually ancient agenda in its final stages of being played out. On a personal level, participating in any form of gang stalking is not only insane, but utterly immoral and spiritually and criminally corrupt. If you care, choose never to participate. Inform the target carefully and secretly. Make a unified stand with friends and neighbors not to participate and log all the evidence you can. Take down all information you can. Be smart. Technology and the capability of those that have orchestrated these world terrors are immense. But most of all, remember that the fear matrix, quote unquote, within the collective consciousness of humanity is the overall target. If people are afraid they can be controlled, stand firm in the belief of your divinity and eternal being. Whether you believe in God or not, you are still part omnipotent grace experiencing on earth. Peace be with us all. That's the end of that article. One person says, I stop everything and wave big at the first responders like they're my family. Big waves and smiles. 421BB, please do call. I'm going to be filing a complaint there, but if other people want to do so, I appreciate that because it helps in numbers. Oh my goodness, JJ, that's interesting. The meter readings in my home during seizures told me they were inducing them. Thank you so much, 42. I appreciate it. I want to save that article that I just read. Julius says, normally I wouldn't believe your claim about an explosion going on. It's happened 4 times, Julius. It actually happened during a live stream. Yet for the live stream, I've had explosives detonated on my property by predator neighbors. April 15, 2023, 7:50 p.m. on my driveway. May 18, 2025, 1:41 a.m. And then I recorded a call to the sheriff's department, who falsified the incident report, and he refuses to provide the transcript of the call. July 20th, 2025, during our live stream here at 12:04 a.m. It was behind my house. I quickly uploaded all of the videos, and you guys were great. You uploaded them to your channel. You found a guy wearing a baseball hat behind my house, crouched down. Looks exactly like my neighbor. And then on February 5, 10:36 p.m., grenade. And there were at least 2 vehicles. There was one parked behind my mailbox, about 10 feet down, 10, 12 feet down, parked there, left very deep tire marks. Yeah, Elsie, that's true. You've been going through this stuff for so long. It's absolutely unbelievable. Conotis remembers the explosion during the live stream. This has been happening to me since New Jersey. There were different tactics in New Jersey, though, because there's no way that they could set up a grenade in a suburban community like Manalapan. Half of what's happening to me here could never go on in the suburbs. Jerry, would you be able to email me that information? I have so much going on here, and the weather's been a real problem here. Are you able to email me? I'll place my email in the chat. And I'm in the process of setting up a Proton mail. Julia says, if someone told me the stuff that has happened to me, I wouldn't believe it either. Well, the thing is, seeing is believing. And this is why one other reason why they isolate the victim. They don't want anybody to witness what's happening to you. Because if there was somebody around that saw you on a regular basis, they would say, "Oh, Lorraine, where'd you get that bruise on your forehead?" Or, "Lorraine, what's that stuff on your legs?" They would be able to photograph also. If you had somebody in close proximity, you could say, "Hey, you know what? Could you photograph the back of my head for me? Because I feel a bump here. Do you see that bump on the back of my head?" And that's another reason why they isolate the victim. And also, if you're a test subject, I mean, those are like the rules of research. When you have test subjects in a lab, you don't want them infected by other uh, extraneous activities. That's why they isolate the lab rat. That's why they isolate the monkey, the ape, the cat, the dog. That's why when those primates escaped from that lab, they were done. They were done for. If it weren't for the rescue groups that wanted to take in those animals, they would have destroyed them. They are no more use in their research once those monkeys escaped the lab, because then they were infected with the environment that changed the monkeys' worldviews. They were climbing trees. They were breathing different air. They were eating normal foods outside. They were meeting dogs. They were meeting cats. They were meeting humans. They were no longer a test subject. That's another reason why they isolate the victim. They don't want anybody to see what's happening to you. They want to create a false reality for you. And I'll walk around when I see stuff on my property or in the cat's building. I just shake my head. It's like, this is not normal. It's like, I'm not 20 years old. I'm 67 years old. I've had my cat rescue for 2 decades, you know. I know what's normal. I know what normal cat behavior is. I know what, I mean, it's ridiculous. Yes, the isolation is important to the program. And they don't want other people to validate what's happening to you, which is so important. Why we need to share our information, at least with each other, with real targeted people. So if anybody can recommend, I know you guys, watch other YouTube channels. Think about investigative journalists that are out there that might be interested in these stories for an interview. To discuss real estate mobbing, predatory gang stalking. Especially based upon what we discussed today in this article that I just read. Predatory gang stalking is terror stalking, flash mobbing, cause stalking, hate stalking, multi stalking, happy slapping, workplace bullying, and covert war. It's a ritual. Ritual gang stalking is reportedly performed by cults and secret organizations such as Satanists, secret orders of Freemasons, some voodoo and obeah practitioners, and Scientologists as a means of control or for punishment. Yes, and those citizen journalists can also be people who report on political corruption, police corruption, sheriff corruption, rural corruption. Amy says, I think I've been dealing with it all my life. I think it was studied or researched here. Yeah, they want you isolated for many, many reasons because they don't want other people seeing what they're doing to you. They don't want the interference of their experiments. And, for the most part, people are community oriented. Yes, Ramola is targeted. Ramola interviewed me back in New Jersey, actually. I don't think she's doing that anymore. She's, staying more to herself. Yes, that's interesting, Amy. She says, I think the gang stalking or Stasi technique was studied here. The Tuskegee study took place there. Conrad says, bear in mind, if you can derail the rituals, you derail the relationship the Masons have with Satan. Satan won't be happy with the Masons. LOL. Ramola is still around. I'm on her mailing list, and I'll receive, I don't know, maybe every few weeks, receive an article or something that she's written. She became seriously targeted. I see that, user. Thank you. I see that. Yes, if you can think of anybody else. I actually contacted Redacted last year, but I believe my mail is interfered with. I've contacted many people, and actually, one of the you subscribers emailed someone else to interview and never got back to her or to me. So I believe the mail is being intercepted. I think it's being prevented from being seen because it's very unlike most larger YouTube creators. Even if they can't help in any way, will have an automatic email response. Has anybody been paying any attention to the kidnapping of what's her name? Savannah's mother, Guthrie. The last name is Guthrie. Dr. Catherine Horton is still around. Yes, absolutely. Jerry says this property I bought is an old two-lotted U.S. agricultural, astrologically aligned, deeded, disembodied eye of Providence site. They sold a tiny disembodied eye off the top, and then I bought it. That's interesting. Yes, the emails are intercepted. I believe that when my house was listed for sale, they were interfering with anybody that tried to contact me because it's very, very unusual to not hear from anybody, even as an inquiry. I have not heard about that. I'm sick about the 7 fishermen that didn't come home up there in Boston. Um, I'm not sure I heard that story. Brian too. I don't think he may not be familiar with the property mobbing, that part of the stalking. But I'm sure that there are people out there that if they saw the recent videos of this grenade or whatever, they would be able to determine what kind of a weapon it was. Because what I noticed was I saw the flash before the sound. I don't know if that is a result of the camera catching the flash before the sound. Yeah, they do that. They intercept registrations, any kind of renewals, anything that has a time limit on it. They held one of my American Express bills for 3 weeks. I'd even called American Express to ask them when they mailed it. And I've been a member of American Express for a long time, decades. Oh, yeah, they've been trying to scare me since I moved here. I'm thinking about just signing back onto TikTok just so that I can post these videos. I have it deleted from my phone. Hi, Ginger. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, they get off on ruining our credit. Well, the way they do that is by jacking up our bills unnaturally, whether it's your water, your electricity, breaking things in your house that you have to replace. Or how about little Bobby Edwards here in Jackson County, Kentucky PVA office that increases my property taxes and doesn't send out a notification? And then when you ask the stupid ass lawyer who's responding to the FOIA request, he still doesn't send it. More gaslighting, more bullshit. But yes, well, we'll be reporting them again also. Let's see. There was a court trial testimony of Semi Williams. I did see that. I saw something about that. The name is familiar. I don't know. I watch so many of these videos. You know, I get so many emails from you guys saying watch this, watch that, but I'm already subscribed to a lot of people. Jerry says, I guess I have to talk to somebody about my situation, Susan related. It's been 8 years of this. Well, welcome to the club. It's been I don't know, it's been 14 years for me. I'm done with my Saturn cycle. But anyway, guys, let's see. In response to the title of It Drives Me Mad, and the intellectual lifelong pursuits of good people are co-opted, bought and sold, stolen for malicious use. That's true. Yes. Oh, that's interesting. Just me. You had one journalist say she was scared to do a story because of lawsuits. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, there are so many YouTube creators out there that interview people and discuss topics just as bad as this. They are. Yes, it's very brazen. That's the perfect word about it. They're very brazen. And the reason they're brazen is because there's nobody overseeing their activities that's going to prosecute them. Or at least that's what they think. So just keep in mind the eBay stalker case. Those two coppers, they went to prison. They're probably out by now, but they did go to prison. They were fined. They had to perform community service or something. Of course, nobody talks about it. And then there were the stalkers in Canada. They were also sent to prison. There were 3 of them. Yeah, the eBay stalker case was actually phenomenal because the person who testified on behalf of the Massachusetts couple was an FBI guy. And I want that guy to testify on my behalf. I want that guy. I want that FBI guy. And you know, I'm not crazy about the FBI, but I want that one. I want that one to testify for me. Yeah, we have to find him. What's his name? 1 second. One second, guys. I don't want to disconnect the live stream by looking for this. 1 second. Um, um, um. Yeah, after I find it, I'll be signing off also. Um, Yeah, this was that lawsuit was in 2019. And basically, what the official offense was 18 USC section 371, conspiracy to commit cyber stalking in violation of 18 USC section 2261A, conspiracy to commit witness tampering in violation of 18 USC section 1512B3. Let's see, the Matrix soundtrack with Lorraine's live stream is some MTV-ish. Okay, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining in the live stream. I appreciate it. And thank you, Joe, for the text message. And thank you for moderating. And thank you, Con Artist, for posting those videos to your channel. I really appreciate that. And for your patience today in my getting into the live stream, because the criminals, with their use of technology, they like to knock people out. And yes, with regard to mineral rights, I'm just going to say it for the record. The mineral rights to my property have never been severed. So if for some reason somebody did, that would be considered a criminal act. Because as of last year, the mineral rights have never been severed from this property. So I hope everybody has a great night, and thank you all for your good wishes and great information. And thank you, Joe, for moderating. I appreciate you. And I'll talk to you guys soon.